Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm Alicia Haygood. If you aren't aware, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and this is a huge passion for me is to talk about mental health awareness. We all suffer from it, some days, some not, some months, some years, but the more we talk about it, the more we bring awareness to it, the more we take off that taboo feeling of like, I'm just not mentally feeling well today, we can move forward and progress as a community, helping one another. And that is where my guest today is from. He is Jeff Kazmierczak, I'm going to get that right, with the MiKid organization. And we're going to talk about mental health awareness and our youth, which is a huge problem. We've been hearing about it. And I'm excited to bring this awareness to you to help you and your family, or maybe your neighbor or someone else you know. So I'm going to take a short break. Go ahead and get a tissue. I actually had to go get tissues before we started because it's just going to tug at my heart. And we're here to help one another. So I'm going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Sean Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Sean has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Sean at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. Being that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, I dive into this each and every month. I help bring people together. I check in on friends more than normal, which is something you should really kind of do throughout the year. But last week, MiKid organization was brought to my attention, and I'm so excited to introduce you to the CEO, Jeff Kazmierczak. He has dedicated his career and his life to helping families and children with behavioral health challenges. Now he's the CEO of MiKid. He moved to Arizona about 10 years ago from, you guessed it, the Midwest, like most people here, which provides services to help support families, leading an amazing team that he has to help strengthen families here in our community. So Jeff, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Thank you, first of all, for even what you and your team and organization do to help our community. And I'd like to learn from you. I think it's so interesting to hear how people got into their path of life or something like that. You've been doing this for over a decade now. It was not something that people were open to talk about when it came to mental health. So really, Jeff, what about mental health really made you want to make this your career path?
Well, thank you, Alicia. I'm happy to talk about the amazing things that MiKid does for families and, of course, for communities. Specifically for me, I think there always has been the realization of just the beauty of family and really meeting at times some of the challenges of being a family member, of being a parent, and helping your children and maybe even yourself or your spouse through some ups and downs, some of those things. And some of those challenges may be in the behavioral health realm. Some may be in substance use. And those are all things that typically people are a little afraid to talk about or a little uncomfortable to talk about. So the more that we raise awareness, especially as you indicated with Mental Health Awareness Month, the better that families are going to be able to meet these challenges. And certainly, again, communities are going to be much stronger having that openness and that knowledge.
You know, you kind of opened up this conversation, and I like that because when we are able to talk about it, when we're able to know that there are resources, and the most important thing is to never feel alone, right? Like when you're going through a mental health crisis, you feel like you're alone, no one understands, and that doesn't help. And I love that you are realizing this and we're like, no, there is help. You are not alone. There are others that feel the same way as you. And you're really focusing that shift right now for MiKid on our youth right now. So talk to me about what kind of behavioral and mental health issues you're seeing with our youth that's right now.
Well, I think there's a couple of ways I could answer that. One is certainly we're pretty much out of the pandemic, but the pandemic has brought or has really intensified some issues that were kind of under the radar or were not maybe as visible. So some of the specific issues that we see, the challenges with teens, is isolation. We see anxiety. We see some depression. And there are all behaviors associated with that. Those are labels, but what do those labels really, how is behavior defined under those labels? And I think that's sometimes where the stigma comes in. So the more we can focus and talk about behaviors, talk about strategies for, helping to mitigate some of those maladaptive behaviors, certainly with teens and even younger and younger, 12-year-olds even, are experimenting with substances, which is really scary, especially with what we know about the opiate environment that pretty much is everywhere. You can't escape it. So again, being really getting away from denial, accepting some of these things, and then having those conversations. But those are probably the three biggest things that we see affecting children right now that come into our centers, or we go into homes. We hear from parents, again, anxiety, depression, and some of those things are behaviors that become maybe aggressive because of just not dealing with the underlying root causes.
One of those things, my kids are still in elementary school, and I'm starting to see some of that with my oldest son, and it's really scary. Like, I don't remember that young having those anxiety, anxious feelings. Puberty coming into everything as well obviously plays a part in these kids' lives. Social media is, such a devil, I feel like, in that sense, and doesn't help these kids. When these families get to a point, like, what are some signs that we as parents can look for to kind of be like, oh, wait, this is not a stage. This is something maybe a little bit serious that I need to look into and try to help and get the resources?
Again, I think it's about, number one, it's a good thing that even parents acknowledge that there might be some issues. So then they do take a little deeper look, and certainly maybe involving a professional might not be the very first step, but monitoring what your children are doing, having conversations with them. Again, communication is key in all of this, making sure that parents are involved and again, on the same page, because it's critically important that they are not split by the behavior of their children. At MiKid, the mission of MiKid is family support in dealing with the entire family through a family-centered approach. We have three main objectives at MiKid. The first one is to prevent families from being torn apart. We know all the cost associated with all the pain and suffering associated with when a family does dissolve. And unfortunately, that all too often is a reality. But then how does MiKid help that family navigate the behavioral health system if things become really, really difficult, where you start seeing behaviors with the children or even yourself or a loved one? So that's the second main point, is navigation. So again, first prevention, second navigation. And then the third key element of our approach is reunification. And unfortunately, we do see quite a bit of this, where maybe one parent is incarcerated, one parent may be in recovery, or both are in recovery, and then children are removed for abuse or possibly neglect. So that is very traumatic. And that becomes very traumatic for children. Again, another harsh reality of this in these kind of situations is sometimes actually the child or adolescent may be the healthiest member of that family. And that's really sad, because they just, unfortunately, are so affected by the behaviors, some of the addiction, domestic violence, some of the behaviors of the parents. So MiKid really then designs programs to deal with some of those behaviors that children are exhibiting, helping them to cope would be one of the things we do, helping them become more resilient. Because the reality is this is going to be maybe a longer journey. It's not going to be taking a pill, a medication prescribed. In some cases, that might work or might be indicated. But a lot of these things really have their root cause in the family dynamics. So we really try to help the family through family support, which may include interfacing with other community partners, such as school systems, helping with the IEP, helping coordinate other resources for that child. And then, of course, at the same time, really getting parents the services they need, that then those children can come back and that family is reunified.
It's a full picture with you guys. And I love that because there is not one answer that fits. First of all, there's not one solution that fits every mold and every family and every individual. The fact that you all understand that it is a family issue and not an individual kid's issue or not just a parent issue, because it is a circle of how what we do at home affects us throughout our day and so on. I think that's great that you really have all of that for everyone in the family to make the dynamic work, because you see the bigger picture and how that happens.
Yes. And MiKid provides services throughout the state of Arizona, 8 sites all around the state, some along the border, some in very rural areas where sometimes families need us the most. And that's really, I think, a testament to our staff, many whom have lived experience. MiKid is the largest what's called family-run organization in the state of Arizona. And what that means is that 80% of our staff and over 50% of our board have lived experience, and lived experience defined as helping to navigate a child, themselves, or a loved one through the behavioral health system, getting them the resources they need. So it's really targeted appropriately, and it would make sense that someone who self-refers, sees us on the website, sees us on the Access website, and sees that there is a first step, and that's contacting MiKid, and or possibly having a referral from another provider to MiKid for their services. But that's really then that first step. If they fear that something may be going on with their child, they need to take a deeper look, have those conversations, and then, of course, involve a professional or services like MiKid.
Yeah, that kind of goes into what I wanted to know. Let's talk about the process of, like, I reached out to MiKid because my family needs help. How do we go from there? You are access-based. I think that's important to focus on as well. So it's not, to make sure that the right people are being serviced and stuff as well.
Yes, and that's critically important, because the last thing we want to do is have someone come in, tell their whole story, and then, I'm sorry, since you're not on Medicaid and you're not in the access system, we can't help you. That's the last thing we want to do. So that is an important point. The first step is an assessment process that's done by a master's level counselor who performs that assessment, or by a staff who has credentials to perform that intake, that assessment. And then recommendations are made, what type of programs might be best for a child. For instance, if we have a program called Transition Age Youth, and this is a really important program. We actually could use this all over every part of the state, because this is a program designed for roughly 13 years up even to 25, where a lot of services drop off at 18 to 21, and some even drop off after 21. And then what do? Yeah. You may have a child or an adolescent, rather, a young adult, who still may be functioning in those kind of in that teen age space that has those kinds of needs. And MiKid has a program, an evidence-based program curriculum that really looks at issues of even pre-vocational kinds of work, how to manage their own emotions and maybe manage aggression, certainly enhancing their communication, navigating the resources that are out there to help them. And certainly from an element of support, they can meet with other teams, talk about issues that affect teens, and then, they're in a safe place with support to really open up and show some vulnerability and develop a plan to kind of deal with these things and be validated by other teens who have similar issues, similar challenges.
And that's just it, right? It goes back to what we said earlier, being a part of a community, feeling like you belong, that you're not alone and that you're not the only one feeling this or going through this. That to me has been a huge step in me feeling better about anything I do in life. It's like, oh, there's someone else that's done this. I can learn with them. I can learn from them, and it's not just that alone feeling, which is so much of what mental health is you feel alone, in that sense.
Yes. Yes.
You all do a lot in their community. What are some things, that we can do to help spread the word of MiKid, bring more attention? I love that you work with the schools and all the youth and stuff like that, but it is parents and families. It is a family organization, and you're not alone too. It's just not your kid going through it. When your kid is going through something and a mental health, we as parents suffer from it too, kind of thing.
Yes, so we do offer in all of the communities we serve community type events that are actually open to everyone. So that is one way that families can benefit. Those are free of charge. We do ask that people register, of course, that we have enough food and enough staff to make sure that we can do appropriate programming. But that's something that exists in every community. Those are held probably 3 or 4 times a year. And that's a good way to get to know MiKid. As I've indicated, the web address, the MiKid, MiKid.org. We have a lot of updates on there, a lot of resources, a lot of links. And again, the Access website is also a good link. Some of the specific events that we do are family bonding events. I just attended one a couple of weeks ago, and it really is really special to see, number one, how families do bond together around kind of just fun activities, and yet some even therapeutic activities where they can support one another, share stories and strategies, and really get a sense of a community in that spirit. So those are some of the things that we do.
I love that. I love what you do. We have all of this in the description of this episode, but like Jeff mentioned, MiKid.org, that's MiKid.org, everything. It's a very easy, accessible website and has tons of valuable information. So please go check it out. And again, it's in the description of this episode on YouTube and on your favorite podcast listening app. Just click on it and it'll take you right there. Jeff, before we wrap up, we're going to take it a little bit lightheartedness, and I hope this question does not trick you up, but what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
Well, I think for me, and prior to living here and traveling, vacationing to Arizona, my favorite is climbing Camelback Mountain, hiking. So again, specific to Scottsdale, and certainly fits with the theme of mental health and a little bit of restoration. And then one thing I did, if I could just mention this, that MiKid really relies on communities for help. The reimbursement from the government and the state can only go so far to do a lot of these events. We are grateful for those who make donations to MiKid. That can be done through the website. That is a huge help. And if you think about it, even, a $5 donation or a larger donation really goes directly to families, to help families in the communities where you reside. That strengthens your community. So that's critically important. The other thing is the welcome opportunity, possibly for employment. We really need people that want to help us with that mission of helping families, restoring hope. And hope is a critically important thing for families, that they don't lose hope. We talk a lot about resiliency, but I think an even more important word is hope, that families have hope, children have hope within the families that things will get better.
And, to go along with that, give yourself time and patience with that, because it does take time and patience to feel better. You don't just wake up overnight. It is a process.
Yes.
Get to that point of not feeling well and asking for help. And it's going to take you time to feel better too. And I think my own journey through mental health and therapy and stuff like that has made me realize you're looking for a quick fix because you want to feel better right away. But it took you time to feel bad. It's going to take you time to feel better, but stick to it like anything, whether it's a diet, a workout, or anything in life, it takes time. Be consistent with that. Be consistent with checking in with one another, helping one another, and just talking about it, and go support MiKid, because like Jeff said, $5, you never know when your family's going to be in that situation or need the help. Pay it forward in advance, and everything will come around to help all of us as a community.
Yes.
Jeff, thank you so much for all you do. A huge thank you to your team too. I know that you give them so much credit, and you're a very selfless CEO in that sense. And I look forward to, connecting MiKid with other resources here in the community, because when we do that together, we all benefit and we grow and are a better place for one another. So thank you so much. I will let you get back to work, because I know you got lots of lives to save.
Okay. Well, thank you. And again, thank you to our amazing staff. They really make the difference. They're the ones who make it happen.
That is so true. All right, well, stay tuned. We'll be right back with some calendar of events. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. Don't forget to go check out MiKid, that's MiKid.org, to find out where you can either help them, increase their services by donations, getting involved, or getting your own family there. Because like I said, mental health awareness is this month. We all should take it seriously, and you are not alone in how you feel every day. Whether you're feeling fantastic or feeling a little down, we're here to help you. So go check them out. But let's get some fun, because having fun really does help you mentally. And I love to have a good time. So let's get started with this week. It is Memorial Day weekend, kicks off. School also gets out this week. So good luck, parents, as summer officially starts for all of us. I hope you got your camps registered, because if not, then this week is for you. Get in those staycations here in town. All the resorts are starting, from the Princess with their summer camp theme to the Scottschella at the Hyatt Regency at Gainey Ranch, JW Marriott, the Phoencian. All of them have amazing summer deals and for us to do a staycation. So go get in, have a good time, because listen, we got all the snowbirds out, even though we love them. Let's take advantage of our city again and go experience and have a good time. So we have a list of some upcoming pool parties that are coming out this week, as well as some of the resorts here in town. But for all you baseball fans out there, the Pac-12 baseball tournament is happening this week at Scottsdale Stadium from May 21st to the 25th. They're going to have a round robin tournament. Every team gets to play at least 2 games. So with the championship game next weekend, come check them out and support our college players, because to me, they play with their heart. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.